for about 10-15 minutes. I have a very, very important message to share. What I'm going to say to you may have two outcomes. It has the potential to offend you and to get you very angry and very agitated, or it has the potential to change your life. So please hear me out. The two things that every person on this earth cannot escape is death and taxes. They're the two things the majority of the population cannot escape. Death and taxes. But if you're smart, some of us can escape paying taxes. But as for death, death does not discriminate. Death doesn't judge you. It doesn't care how old you are, how young you are. It doesn't care what background you are, or what religion you follow. Every time the sun goes up and goes down, it's a day closer to your end. All death is certain. So tonight, I'm going to preach as a dying man to dying men and women. The #1 selling book of all time, the Holy Bible, probably the most controversial text in all of history, says these very, very frightening and terrifying words. It says very plainly, it is appointed unto a man or a woman to die once, then face God and be judged. This book says that one day when you breathe your last breath, in that next second, you're going to stand before a holy God, and that God's going to judge you, sir. And my question to you is, how do you think you'd go on that day of judgment? How would you go, sir? No, I read the Bible. Read the Bible.
$1 million.
The Bible says that one day you will die and stand before a holy God and be judged. The question I posed to you, Melbourne, by what standard is this holy God going to judge you by? I tell you now, the standard in which God is going to judge you isn't your own standard. He's not going to judge you by what you think is right. Because we all judge ourselves by the wrong standards. But God's got a holy and a perfect standard. And that standard can be found in His commandments, in His laws. These laws are so simple. The 9th commandment being, thou shalt not lie. Think how many times you've lied and broken that commandment. So God doesn't see you as a good person, as a person trying to make it through. God sees you as a liar if you've broken that commandment. The 8th commandment says, thou shalt not steal. And every time you take something that's not yours, without permission, not give it back, you're a thief in the sight of God. Every time you download a link of music off the internet, or programs, or movies, or bird CDs, or jump on trams without paying for it, you're a thief in the sight of God. The Bible says no thief, no thief can inherit the kingdom of heaven. These are only 2 of the commandments, lying and stealing, and think how many times you've broken those laws. says, because of your wicked works, you become enemies of God. The criminals before a holy God. And when your time is come and you breathe your last breath, you're going to stand in God's courtroom and He's going to judge you by that standard. How do you think you're going to go? The Bible says God's going to pour out His wrath, His fervent anger upon all sinners. But God's wrath abides over you. And when your time is up and your judgment has come, what are you going to do when you stand before a holy God naked? And that God judges you according to every action you've ever committed, every thought you've ever thought, and every word you've ever said. What are you going to do when God plays back all your lies, and all your stealing, and all your hatred, and all your lust? He plays them back to you as evidence of your guilt. You might think I'm preaching hate, and you're right. I am preaching hate. I'm going to convince you to hate your sin, serve your sin. Because even though God is a God of love, better yet, even though God is love, you're not going to face a loving God on that day. No. You're going to face a wrathful God. A God who's angry with the wicked every day. And the only way to salvation is through Jesus Christ. I tell you now, no one can get to heaven by being a good person. No one can get to heaven by doing what's right. You can't buy up God with your good works. God is not corrupt. The Bible said God has to punish sin